Hey, it's Baer. And did you know that most companies, especially in B2B, are doing digital lead generation totally backwards? See, what most companies do is they create content. They use content marketing to try to generate leads. They might make a white paper. They might make an ebook. They might make a webinar, an information series, an infographic, a research, whatever it may be. And then they put contact forms in front of that contact. They say to people, if you want to download what we know, if you want to enjoy this fantastic information, this research that we conducted, you need to tell us who you are. And then, of course, that information is passed on to a salesperson who follows up with that prospect to see if they're interested in buying products or services. But here's the challenge. When you do that, when you gate, we call it gating in the business, when you gate that information at all stages, it often creates a trust asymmetry. It's an asynchronous relationship between the company and the prospect, because in many cases, you're just kicking the tires. You don't really even know what this company sells or what the product or service is necessarily. You're just interested in this particular piece of content that you saw promoted on social media or in Google, etc. And at this point, you're not necessarily ready to commit. You know what's going to happen. And I'll tell you, think about this in your own life. Ponder this. How many times have you ever been on a website and you were kind of interested in the product or service? You weren't totally sure, but you were kind of interested, but you purposefully did not fill out a contact us form because you weren't ready for a salesperson to call you or email you. Everybody, every single person watching this has had that experience, but yet when it comes to creating our own marketing campaigns, we completely forget that. And we gate this content at every step. If you want to see what we know, you have to give us your information to do so. And it's absolutely backwards. So what either happens is people flee and they say, nah, I'm not ready. I don't really care about your information that much. I'm not ready to give you my contact info. Or they fill out that form begrudgingly and sometimes with false information because, again, they're not ready. And what happens? Those leads then get passed to the salesperson. And so what ends up happening is that marketing creates a bunch of leads using this digital lead gen process, but the quality of those leads is not very good because many of the people who participated were like, meh, I'm not really ready yet. And then what happens next is the sales team says, you know what? Marketing doesn't even know what they're doing. The leads that we get from marketing, we can't even close these leads, partially because the people who are in that lead pool are not anywhere close to being ready to buy. So then marketing or sales decides I'm not going to follow up on these leads anymore, or I'm not going to follow up with them quickly, and then the whole house of cards falls apart. So here's the idea. Here's how to turn your digital lead generation program around. Instead of putting the contact us form, instead of gating the content in front of the content, try it this way. Allow people to read the content, allow them to download the content, allow them to attend the webinar, or whatever the circumstances are. And then at the end, on the last page, after the webinar, ask them for their personal information in order to receive the next piece of even better content that you have produced. Put the gate at the end, not at the beginning. You're giving them value. And when you do that, it gives them a chance to decide whether or not they're really interested or if they're just kicking the tires. So here's what's going to happen. Total leads will go down. You will get fewer leads. But the average quality of each lead will go up because the only people who are in that lead pool then are people who are interested in consuming not just one, but at least two pieces of your content. They are voting for you. They are saying, yeah, I know what's going to happen next. I know a salesperson is going to contact me, and guess what? I'm okay with that. In almost every case, almost every time we've tried this with our clients at Convince to Convert, total revenue, total sales has remained the same or even gone up, and the time necessary to convert those leads to sales goes way down because the average person in that pool is much farther along psychologically than how we've been doing it in the past. And you don't have to just take my word for it. This is totally testable, completely testable. Do it both ways. Take any piece of content that you have in your organization and do it with a gate on front in one way. Check those leads over time and see how many of those convert, and then do it my way. Put the gate behind it and see how many of those convert over time as well. And you will see that perhaps you've been doing digital lead generation backwards. I'm Baer.